There you go. Chat.
Oh, chat.
There's a chat.
There's a chat in there.
Chat message.
All right, we'll
There's
get rid of
Holly.
this.
Hello.
Hey, Holly.
We found it. Yay.
All right, I'm going to just move this down out of the way. So if you guys have got any questions as we go, hi, Vicky. We can, that way we can answer maybe. Shari will keep an eye on the questions. I'll do most of the talking. I don't know what this ask a question up the top here is. I'm going to get rid of that.
I never want it.
Doesn't matter. So, all right, probably need to go back a bit.
Oh, too far. There we go.
All right, that's back at the start. Get rid of this. Can we get rid of that? Doesn't matter. We're not going to worry about that.
As long as you guys can see.
As long as you guys can all see. Cool.
Sharon's
I
there
reckon.
as well. Hello, Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. I reckon we're about ready to get started. We've got a few people on. All right, I'll stop looking over there because I need to look at you guys.
Do you want the music off? Leave it on.
Yeah, let's pop the music down. Cool. So welcome to our webinar, 3 Keys to Stop the Yo-Yo for Permanent Change. That's what we're here, right? So before we delve into a journey, I just want to, just a little bit about myself. Check the pictures. Who's that? Lunatic raver from about 15 years ago. So that was not long before I got sick. So a little bit podgy around the middle, pretty skinny around the arms. Yeah, general sort of bloke. Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm Brian, or Brian Kennedy, aka BK. This is Shaz next to me. So I'm not going to ramble on about me for an hour, but I'll share a little bit of why I'm here or what got me here. Okay, so I'd say a little over 15 years ago, I found myself doubled over in pain in a hospital waiting room. I never felt so much pain before in my life and thought, you know, this was coming to an end. Turned out to be not so drastic, but it was a warning, a shot across the bow, so to speak. This was my turning point. And we had a bit of dramas with hospitals. Sorry, I digress, get off the subject. A bit of dramas with hospitals lately. Just shuttled my mum off a couple of nights ago, and then they transferred to the Alfred, and she's going to have some back surgery. So we've been dealing with a bit of stuff running around, like probably all you guys have got stuff going on. But anyway, so after a few days of testing and so forth, it just reminded me of it as I was going through. So after a few days of testing and no answers, it turned out to be gallstones and an infected gallbladder. I had no one to blame but myself, as this was 100% lifestyle-related health problem, as so much of our health concerns in this day and age are. So some of us wear our lifestyle as weight gain, and some of us are suffering the repercussions of our choices internally. I was one of them. So as I said, this was my snap point, and where I decided I had to make some changes. And this is where I began my journey to improve my health. It has been up and down, but it wasn't until I found my passion to help other fellow human beings along with their journeys that I really felt connected to my own journey. It's that old saying of you can't shine a light on someone else's path without illuminating your own. So I really felt that, you know, being involved with helping others really then in turn helped myself. So why am I here? I'm here because I genuinely want to help and add value to the lives of others like yourselves. That's what, you know, building the gym, doing all that stuff was all about. So now that's enough about me. I'll stop carrying on. So the 3 keys to stop the yo-yo for permanent change. So let's have a look what we tend to get wrong. So the first thing we tend to do is fixate on an outcome, such as losing 5 or 10 kilo, whatever it may be. But what we fail to do is look at why we're carrying this extra fat. I dropped the F-bomb, but let's face it, we're talking fat loss, not water, not muscle, not bone, right? So as uncomfortable as the word has become, it is about fat loss. So what I was saying is we tend to focus on the fat we want to lose and not correcting the problem that has caused us to gain the fat in the first place. The second place we tend to go wrong is we try to address losing this 5 or 10 kilo of fat or whatever your goal may be, is we launch into a gym program, diet, or even worse, both, that is completely unsustainable, or it's a short-term fix. So let's look at the repercussions when we address the short term and not look at the bigger picture, the sustainable picture. That is the yo-yo. We do something that gets results, but it's not sustainable, so we stop doing it. And here we are back at the start again, plus an extra couple of kilos. Another thing that happens when we decide to make a change is we get excited. We want to know more. That's the way we're wired. We start something new, we get excited, we get enthusiastic, we gather books, magazines, jump on Google. Well, for any of you who've done that, I'm sure you've ended just the way most people have, confused. There's keto, paleo, low carb, intermittent fasting, the list goes on. Can you think of any more?
It's not the top of my head. No, not really.
There's
heaps of them. There's so many.
There's the Atkins and all those sorts of things. The list just goes on and on. The options out there are overwhelming and conflicting. Information just leaves you lost and confused, and your excitement declines, your enthusiasm wanes, and you start to justify where you're at and decide, I'm not bad for my age. I'd rather just be fat. Until the next work function, wedding comes around, and we start it again. Ooh. Mum's here with me. Sharon, that was from before.
Yes, it was.
So I need to keep
I'm watching it. It's all right.
Keep my eyes on the ball. Sherry's on it.
That's what I'm
all
here
right.
for.
So where do we start? Well, today I'm going to give you some great information that you can put into action today. And believe it or not, the keys are in your metabolism. So what is your metabolism? For a scientific point of view, it's an extremely complex thing. It's millions or even billions of reactions that take the stored energy we eat to the transferred energy that keeps us alive and functioning every day. That's basically our metabolism. So our metabolism determines 3 key things: how you look, your body composition, your muscle versus fat, basically. The best focus of improving body composition is to increase or at least maintain muscle mass and reduce total body fat. Just know, as we reach the age of around 30, I think a few of us are there, maybe a bit past, around the age of 30, it becomes a little harder to keep a muscle, which in turn triggers an increase in fat storage and premature aging. So let's have a look at key number 2, is function, how we function on a daily basis, or also known as our energy production. So understand that reducing calories or cutting out food groups can have a massive effect on our energy production. For example, most people are doing well if you can make more than 5 food choices in a week. So imagine you start cutting food groups from that. You could be cutting 20% or more of your nutrition. Does that seem sustainable? It's all good to say cutting this food group or that, but you need to understand how to replace what you have cut, or you'll just experience a decline in performance. You'll find you're unable to make it through your day. You're falling asleep at your desk, or you get home tired and hangry from all the rabbit food and birdseed you're eating. So let's have a look at our 3rd key. Your metabolism also determines your health, how you feel, or your well-being. So you need to be wary of any program that does not address the core of your problem, your metabolism. Any program, diet you want to embark on must address what we call the golden triangle. You should be looking at that right now on your screen. How we look, how we function, and how we feel. So anything that addresses one point without the other 2 is never going to work long term. All right, so what do we want? We want success. But success is a byproduct of creating the right metabolism. So let's take a look at this metabolism. Let's look at the main influences or main short-term influences on our metabolism. Looking at this chart, you will notice there are 3 large segments and a smaller one. Do I even mention the smaller one? We'll talk about the smaller one later. Shaz was saying, what's this one? Oh, we'll mention it later. All right. So in this segment, we've all got, well, in the exercise segment, we've all got the most idea on it, but probably the most misunderstood. We often think more exercise is better, but exercise only equates to a small portion of our daily energy expenditure, just 17%. For the normal person, we're not looking at athletes here. So let's put it this way. We often use exercise as a trade-off. So what do I mean by this? So we said that our daily energy expenditure due to exercise is about 17%. And then we give ourselves a treat or write off what we know to be a bad choice because we earned it. I earned that. Did I earn it? All right. So let's look at this typical meal from a popular fast food restaurant. Names shan't be mentioned. We are looking at 700 calories. We've not included a drink.
And that doesn't even fill me up.
No. Well, if I was to be buying this meal after as I've traded off, there'd be 2 of those, a double Big Mac and a quarter pounder, and a drink. I wouldn't go without the drink. So you can, and that's close to about 2,000 calories I just ran off there. Anyway, so now let's get back to our exercise. So generally, you can only utilize around 10 calories per minute. Now this is all out, 100% work rate, leaving nothing in the tank cooked. So a 30-minute workout session, you're looking at around 300 calories tops. Now let's look at this meal again, 700 calories for just one tiny meal with no drink. Can you see how that's not going to work? You can't trade off a bad choice for a bit of exercise. And just remember, that's one meal. All right, here's 700 calories looking at real food. So one of the things I always find is when people do try to go on those diets and so forth, they'll replace a cheeseburger with about the same volume of food as that cheeseburger, but now they're going to eat a salad. Let's just look. If you want to get 300 calories of energy, because our body requires energy somewhere between 2,000, 3,500 calories a day just to maintain. Look at how much food you need to eat to replace that 300 calories. So you can see where, when a lot of people launch into these diets, they end up lacking in energy. Okay, so we looked at that real food, that's 700 calories in real food. So after looking at all this food, let's have a look at the next segment in the chart, feeding. Okay, so 17% we're at, now we're looking at feeding at 12%. So 5% between them. There's not a big difference, but yeah, we'll look at cutting one back and loading up on the other. Why? Remember the food slide. See how much more food we actually need to eat to maintain calories if we go to eating real food. So real food does not mean more energy, or more food does not mean more energy. So while yes, what we eat is important, but as you can see, with this, eating the right foods in abundance will both fuel our bodies and burn more energy in processing this extra food. So let's go back to our burger. So the second reason why people fail is they use exercise as a trade and we cut calories. Let's have a look at a more in-depth look at how much food is required to replace the cheeseburger at 300 calories. Generally, you find most meals are about that 300 calorie when we tend to aim for a meal, about 300 calories. So about the same as what a cheeseburger is. So a plate of veggies at 300 calories, there's not going to be a lot of room left in your stomach after you eat those. but I can guarantee you I could fit 4, 5, 6 of those cheeseburgers in.
I wouldn't touch the cheeseburger.
Chicken and chickpea salad, more than enough protein for the average person. Again, quite a big plate of food. In fact, it doesn't really fit on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And now, something that probably is more attuned to most of us when we think of a meal or a decent meal would be steak and veggies. You probably want veggies cooked, but steak and veggies nonetheless. You know, it's a reason. It's 200 grams of steak and a full plate of veggies, and that's giving you 300 calories. So as you can see, it's not a matter of eating less, but eating the right foods and probably more of it. All right, now.
A little small segment.
All right, we'll talk about a little small segment because it's written in there now. So temperature regulation. So for the average person under the average conditions, regulating your body temperature is probably is a small consideration. Don't go running around naked in the snow to try and run off some extra calories. It's not really going to have the effect you want, but it has been tried. Okay, so we're now looking. So anyway, I'll just finish off this last little bit. So if we're looking to cut foods or junk food from our diet, we need to replace them with real food. Now we're going to look at that big segment. So what we need to understand is that muscle mass matters. So while exercise is 17% and feeding is 12%, the muscle just sitting on our bones contributes to 66% of our daily energy expenditure. Muscle is our primary site for fat and carbohydrate metabolism. So the more we have, the more fat we burn. But there is a problem. As we age, we naturally lose muscle. And it becomes harder to gain or even just hold on to. In fact, we can expect between the age of 30 and 60 to lose 7 kilos of muscle and gain 15 kilos of fat. On the scale, that's what? We're going to gain 8 kilos.
I was going to say, don't ask me to
Math. You think about that. So you look on the scales and go, oh, I've only put on 8 kilo over the last so often. But if you've actually put on 15 kilo of fat and you've lost 7 kilo of muscle, that's going to have a massive difference in your mobility and your ability to do the things you've been doing. And it reduces further the ability to burn fat. So therefore, fat storage becomes more prevalent. This loss of muscle is linked to premature aging. The muscle in our body is not just about looking good or being strong. It governs our immune system, regulates hormones, and in fact is a reservoir of proteins that are shuttled around our body for thousands of processes, including cell replication. So it's 66% of our daily energy expenditure. And for a healthy immune system, hormone regulation, healthy cell replication, and many more important functions, muscle mass matters. Good news is we can do something right now to stop the loss of muscle and turn this around in the right direction for success. Okay, so we'll have a look at a couple of take-homes so far. So create a metabolism for success. Muscle mass matters. Follow a resistance program designed to build or preserve muscle. Exercise no more than 3 to 6 hours per week to stimulate changes in body composition. Replace calories, don't cut them. Feeding is 12%, so let's feed the metabolism to build muscle, produce energy, and burn fat. Sound good? Sounds good to me. Well, is anyone going to reply? Let's see. How does this sound to everyone? Give us some feedback.
Give us a thumbs up.
Can we do that?
No, we can't do thumbs up unless they're on the phone.
Oh, hang on. Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Bree.
Thanks, Bree. Cool. So,
Vicky raised a hand. You can do that? That's so cool.
Well, I heard you can. I've seen it, but I don't know how to do it.
Raise their hands. Oh, you guys are so clever.
You guys are better than we are at this webinar stuff. All right. So the other thing we haven't spoken about yet is habits.
Great. Thanks, Stacey.
So we've spoken about the physical, so let's talk a little bit about the invisible reasons why people fail. Habits always beat intentions. So you're sitting here tonight wanting some great information you can take home and use. as you stand up at the end, you'll be full of great intentions. But I know as well as you do, as you turn on the TV, head to the kitchen, many of those intentions will already start to fade. They start to fade because life gets in the way. Or you become excited and do some research and totally confuse yourself again.
Done that several times.
Yes, and it is like, even myself, I've learned so much, but then you still learn something new that questions it, and you have to actually go down a whole rabbit hole before you can actually work out where things come in, and you sort of go back to, hang on, I already had that information, but this counteracted it. But then when you look at the science and get into the back end of it all, and you realize that someone's taken, you know, a small portion of a study that suited them, and they've presented that bit of information and left everything else out. That's generally where all this brand new information comes from. It's that they take a small segment of a piece of research, and then they present what suits their particular program or what they want to promote.
Got chat on here.
No Jaffa cakes. No, Anne. No, I don't have any.
No cherry up for you, Dave. Only 3 hours of exercise for Holly per week. She'd die. 3 to 6 hours, Holly.
3 to 6. 3 to 6. And look, you can do more. Definitely, look, athletes do more than that, but they eat accordingly.
Yeah.
And what this all comes down to is you need to exercise according to what you're eating, rather than try and exercise a whole heap and then try and catch up with you. You need to create those habits of food intake to be able to work to the extent that you want to work.
Correct.
So matching your energy in and energy out, so that you don't end up in a hole, injured, sick and tired. All right, but it's kind of just ad-libbing now. Anyway, so I've spent years learning and tens of thousands of dollars in education regarding this stuff. And if I go researching, it can be a rabbit hole of confusion. The thing that just about every program can work, but it's a matter of rather than focusing on a program to blindly follow, it's more about finding what works for you and what is sustainable and what promotes health for you. So what have all the most successful programs got in common? They all reduce overall calories, fact, energy in versus energy out. That's true. But there's more to it than that. Like, your metabolism will increase. So therefore, the energy that you need today, if you start eating well, exercising well, the energy you need today will probably be, you know, half of what you need in 6 months' time if you continue those habits. So that can be where it goes wrong. And then you get to the point that your energy in is not sustaining what you're doing, and you end up sick, tired, injured, taking a break, and then you are back at the start again.
It's happened to me many times.
So that's one thing. So they all sort of reduce the overall calories in their various different ways or different ideals on how to do it. They all recommend whole foods, or all the good ones, as I said, was one of the most successful good programs got in common. They all recommend whole foods, no processed foods and foods from the ground. Drinking low energy or 0 calorie drinks such as water, you know, tea, black coffee, all those sorts of things. Regular exercise and consistency. These are the foundational points to a good program, and making sure that we're addressing the metabolism as a whole, and not focusing on one of the points of the golden triangle. So let's look at this. Eat more natural foods, less processed food. Drink water or low energy drinks. Preferably not 2 litres of 0 Coke a day. But you know, you can treat yourself, but the idea is to keep everything under control. And if you're going to have the occasional Diet Coke, it's not going to be a big deal. But I'm sure there's some very flawed research telling us that it causes this and that and the other. But at the end of the day, artificial things are never the best choices. But the occasional treat here and there is not going to kill you. Yeah, off track again as usual. Now, So it was eat more natural foods, less processed food, drink water or low energy drinks, follow a resistance training program, exercise in total 3 to 6 hours a week, habits beat intentions.
Every time.
That's our basics at the minute. So habits can be good or bad or neither. They are just us automating our lives so we don't need to think about every single situation in a waking moment. Good news is habits can be formed in 21 days according to research.
Only 21 days.
Only 21 days.
Only 21 days.
And just as we can break or replace a habit in that same time frame. So let's have a go at this. We should only really be looking to address one of our habits at a time. I've chosen breakfast because it's an easy one to talk about. There's lots of different habits, but breakfast is the one I've chosen.
That's my favourite one.
It's the one that tends to be my cornerstone habit that I use to get myself on track. I start having breakfast, everything else starts to fall in place. So recognize a habit or choose a habit you want to create, say breakfast. So plan what you will have, small or large, allow time in your schedule. So there's no point saying I'm going to start having breakfast tomorrow and then wake up at the same time when you know you don't have time to do that. You've got to then adjust your schedule to fit it in. So it's making all those allowances to make this habit work. Make it important. If your routine gets thrown off, decide what caused the mistake, create a solution, and then start again. Follow the process till you've created a habit and a raft of solutions to any problems that may interfere. So that's basically a habit, how to address a habit. And you can do that by replacing the loop. So, obviously getting up in the morning starts your morning routine. Your habit might be, let's say you're really unhealthy, and you grab a cigarette and a coffee and go and sit on the back porch. So instead, we're going to change that loop. So you get up in the morning, have your shower, and the first thing you do is grab a cup of coffee, an omelette, and watch the news before you get up to go to work. It's so you either have a loop that you change a part of, or you create a whole new habit. But either way, you can do that in how many days?
21 days.
21 days. I thought I'd better get Shari to say
21
something.
days. No, I'm just here. I'm just a pretty face to say.
Okay. All right. So we've covered the 3 keys here. So here are 3 steps to success. So 1, eat more whole foods and less processed foods. Include protein with every meal. Drink only water and close to zero energy drinks such as tea, black coffee, or the sneaky Coke Zero.
So what could be a protein substitute? So I come across this question every time, right? When I say include protein in every meal, some people say, so I have a protein shake with every meal.
Well,
what could be a substitute for protein?
Chicken, beef,
Good.
Eggs,
Good.
Salmon, pretty much any fish really. So those sorts of things. So we're just including, so a lot of times one of the recommendations can always be, eat 6 meals a day. And I can't eat 6 meals a day. But do you have breakfast, you have lunch, and you have dinner, you have morning tea, and you have an afternoon tea, or you have a snack when you get home from work, and then you might have a dessert. Well, that's basically 6 meals right there. And that wouldn't feel strange. But all we're saying is instead of having a piece of fruit for morning tea, it might be a piece of fruit, a tin of tuna. There you've got a carbohydrate, a protein.
My favourite is fruit yogurt. Fruit and yogurt.
Fruit and yogurt. So that's awesome. So it's not about sitting down and having a massive plate of food all the time. It's about you have your main meals and you have your little ones in between. But I'm digressing here because we're just talking about each meal. We want to make sure we're eating whole foods, so fruits and vegetables, a source of protein. So it could be meat, it could be, it could be a scoop of protein added to your yogurt. But we're more talking about, your tuna, your meat, chicken, eggs, and that type of thing. And then a drink that's very low in energy, preferably your water or, some infused water or something if you want some flavour. Even there's a lot of tea infusions. There's some like licorice tea, which is and chili chocolate tea. There's lots of different teas other than just having your chamomile
Peppermint.
tea.
I
Peppermint tea.
love chamomile tea.
You're
It's
such
my
an old
favourite.
woman.
That's why I go to bed at
She's
8
such an old
o'clock.
woman. All right. So number 2, that was number 1. That was step 1. Step 2, exercise for no more than 3 to 6 hours a week.
Hear that, Holly? 3 to 6.
Including a structured exercise training program. So it's great to do resistance training, but having a structured program where you are pushing yourself to the next step each week to progressively maintain or build muscle is important, especially as we're getting older. We want to also include intense cardio exercise, which we know that Holly's quite fond of. And then also it's good to have that low intensity activity. And that can be on top of your 6 hours, really, your low intensity stuff. So it's walking the dog, that type of stuff.
Oh,
Bit of kick to kick.
love licorice tea.
Yes.
Crazy.
Thanks, Joe. You know what's really good? Chili chocolate. I love the chili chocolate tea.
We're not related, though.
That's
Everyone's
my
got
favourite
different
at the moment,
tastes.
but I've got licorice right there.
And Anne suggests licorice legs from T2. Mmm. Yeah. Mmm.
All right. And step 3, build or replace habits to suit your long-term goals.
Oh,
So there's no point. What's this?
good question, Holly.
How about cottage cheese and yogurt? Light cottage cheese is a pretty great source of protein. It's something I used to have.
I used to have it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, you have to eat a fair bit of it.
I used to eat it with strawberries and stuff on Cruskets after a workout.
Yeah, me too. Strawberries, and I didn't have it on Cruskets. I just had strawberries.
This is what I could get away with it.
Cottage cheese, and yeah. So yeah, cottage cheese is a good replacement or addition to yogurt. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. Like
good
that
question.
one.
Yep.
Not many people bring the old cottage cheese up. Most people are like,
Scratch what it looks like.
All right. So as I was saying about your habit, so build or replace habits to suit your long-term goals, one at a time. Allow 21 days to make them stick.
Don't try and cram everything in. Don't try and do everything at once. It overwhelms you and you're going to fall backwards, basically.
As soon as you try and do 2 or more habits, generally you're going to drop the ball on one and throw them all in the bin and quit.
So one step at a time, my friends.
Yes. So one habit at a time is definitely the best way to go. You get one under control and then you bring in the next one. You know, they're still only working on one because the other one's formed. It's a habit. If you lose a habit, if you break a habit and you kind of lose track of it, that means you've got to start again with that one. You can't just go, I know how to do that, I'm just going to do it. Because guaranteed, if you try and do something else on top of that, they'll both fall to bits. So one habit at a time. Focus on long-term goals. There's no point in saying I need to lose 5 kilos in 3 weeks because that you might get there. You probably will get there if you're really serious about that. But in 3 weeks' time, guaranteed, you'll start putting that 5 kilos back on. So long-term goals, and you'll get there and you're able to maintain where you want to be. All right.
Ooh,
so what's next?
What is that?
So for anyone who's unsure of where to start, we've got you.
Just went through. Got it.
What's she doing? What's she doing?
We're on it.
For anyone who's unsure of where to start, we've got you. We want to provide you with a free structured resistance program. So for any of you guys at gym members, you already have our app. So what we'll do is we'll send you out an email tomorrow. We'll have a link for you to get the program. I'm going to share with you the same program I use myself, which is both suitable for male and female. There's not really a lot of difference. We all have 2 arms, 2 legs, in general anyway. We have all the same muscles in our body, and what the difference is us males have lots of testosterone, so our muscles build bigger, easier. You guys, or you women, don't have that same hormone. You obviously have it, but you don't have the same profile as what we do, so you do not build muscle as easy as what we will. In saying that, generally, even men that want to build decent muscle really have to focus on 100% on everything they're trying to do to build a decent amount of muscle, or something you might see as a bodybuilder. That's not accidental. You don't lift a couple of weights in the gym and start looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I wish it was that easy.
And especially for women, they can throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, and it's very hard to build and keep the muscle on. So we don't need to be scared of, oh, Brian uses that program and he's this size and I don't want to be that size. You're only going to build what you're capable of building, and it comes down a lot to do with food, and eating to sustain what you're doing. So anyway, I'm going to share with you the same program I've used myself, and it'll be easy to hook up. If you've already got the app, it'll just add it into your app when you use the link, and that's going to be free, of course, because we love you guys. What was that creepy look about? Hey?
There's a smile. I can't help it. My breasts make it look creepy. Jeez.
All right. So that's everyone who's on this webinar and registered for this webinar will get that to you. Now, what about if you're not sure where to start with our food? As part of stuff we've been building, we've got recipes and recipe packs that are built into some of our programs, and we're going to share with you one of our recipe packs. It's got a 7-day meal plan, 15 or so recipes in there, and it even comes with a shopping list. So if you love the recipes like I would, but my wife's a little bit fussy, so I've had to alter them. So I can't even use the shopping list. How down is that? It's like, I was just like, this is awesome. I've got a shopping list. I'm going to go and get the stuff. Oh, I don't eat that, or that. And I'm going to sit there. All right, well, if you take that out, I've got to put this in because we've got to replace our calories. We can't just take things out. And anyway, I ended up shopping. We cooked up a whole heap of stuff and it was awesome. So that's been great. How does that sound to you guys?
Do we get a hand raise?
Anyone?
Yeah, there we go. Woo! Raise hands.
Awesome. So we'll share with you that program tomorrow. We'll share with you the recipe pack. We'll give you a link to. Oh, I knew I needed a drink. I've got a drink earlier and I haven't even had a sip.
Your man coffee's probably gone cold now.
It's drinkable.
That's all I'm good for. Making coffee that doesn't get drank.
But yeah, and that'll get you started. And what we also got is a transformation coach.
Oh, have I gone too far?
Have I gone too far?
I don't know.
I did. I shot.
You didn't say that I was glad yet.
You didn't see that. Take that back.
We should be comedians.
All right. So those things should get you guys started. So we've got to work on your habits. You've got some recipes to work with, and you've got a basic weight training program, resistance training program, which we're only a few weeks away. 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks away from the gym opening. So
I think it's like 27 sleep.
You guys can get back in there if you've got your own gear. And if you're really keen to get going, shoot me a message and I'll give you a body weight program as well. Okay. So now that should all get you started, but who would be interested in being guiding through this whole process? Who would like the opportunity to be part of our select group to take the next step in your future self? We're looking to take on just 10 people who are truly ready to make a change. So here it is. We're offering this exclusively to you guys, our new transformation coach or coaching program. So this package will reveal the vital how-to secrets necessary for shedding fat and building muscle. We'll take you through the specific step-by-step plan, monitoring your success and motivating your every step, and ensure that you can achieve the desired results, maximize lean muscle and fat loss. What the package includes is our initial consult and goal setting session, monthly tracking and goal adjustment sessions. So every 4 weeks, we'll just go through where you wanted to be, where you're at, and what we need to adjust to continue moving forward. Strength training and cardio programmed and prescribed according to those monthly assessments. So you might start off with a certain amount of exercise and so forth, but as we get better at certain things, we'll increase or change what we're doing. So it's quite tailored in that respect. Of course, the Mpwr app for programming, booking, and tracking your habits and progress. Weekly online transformation coaching sessions. 2 free coaching / training sessions for a friend or family member. Regular education information via email, Facebook, and website. So we're planning on doing these style of webinars every 4 to 8 weeks, something like that. Coming up with new topics all the time. So you got questions, you shoot them to us. We might turn it into a whole webinar for you. Social events and 100% money back guarantee.
Woo.
How does that all sound at about the price of a daily coffee?
Well, I love coffee, you know.
I love coffee. Don't know if I go without coffee. Is that what I'm asking you to do? No. I'm just saying it's not a huge amount if you're willing to spend that on a cup of coffee a day, and then you can spend the same amount of money on turning your health around to where you want it to be for you, your family, and so forth in the future. I believe that's a great investment. Now, you're going to do drum roll? That's your specialty, drum roll? That was terrible. Ta-da! All right, we're going to do our prize draw.
Do we stop sharing the screen now? Is that what we do?
You can stop. We can stop sharing the screen, and that way.
We got 14 participants. I didn't realize there were that many people on.
That's awesome.
Hello to those of you we haven't said hello to.
This is our first ever webinar,
If
so
you can't tell.
let's have a look at us. Oh, look at us. Whoa, that's scary.
Nasty.
All right, let's.
That's what you guys have been looking at the whole time. Wow.
I'm glad I made the other picture big. All right, so we have.
Have you got our list?
I'm just going to double check.
Ooh.
Double check something here. Where's it gone?
Gone? We're vanished. Disappeared.
All right, well, we've got our list. We've got our list. And, ooh, did you number things? Oh, you did. She's numbered.
I know, I did something.
All right, we're going to tell you who has won the 12 weeks coaching with us.
Do you need another drum roll?
3, 2, 1.
Number 13.
Number 13. We used a random number generator.
Oh, you're not going to believe this one.
What?
David Asquith.
David Asquith.
How did that happen? No, I'm kidding. Love you, Gabe.
Well, that's good because Dave wanted to do it anyway.
That's correct.
So there you go.
Lucky number 13. Good on you.
Gotta love that. So, Dave, you are the winner. So we'll be getting.
It says rigged. Sorry, Bernie.
Oh, you couldn't be in it anyway because you work for us. You're part of the team. All right, guys. So thanks heaps for being on tonight because this has been for us. It was a bit nerve-wracking to do our first ever webinar, and everything's kind of brand new. We've been doing a lot of work. We've got a lot of things coming for when we get back into the gym too. We bought this crazy fogger that fills the whole place with disinfectant.
I'm so excited for that.
I don't know if I'm excited about it at all.
To get to rave.
But it means that we can, on top of the cleaning down and doing everything we've got to do, we can also add this extra bit of prophylactic to basically. It was a big word, but it spreads the disinfectant right through the place. It's supposed to last up to 4 weeks, but we're going to do it weekly. But we're also cleaning down all the surfaces as such. In the group fitness area, we'll be steam cleaning the floor between sessions, all sorts of stuff like that going on. So anyway, we're getting ready to open back up.
We're very excited.
So excited that you guys came on tonight. 14 people. We, over the moon with that. David's woohoo. So that's awesome. And you guys will be sending out your food pack, recipe pack, program, and so forth. And yeah, have a think about if you're interested in a group. We only got room for those 10 peoples, and that'd be awesome to be able to get you in. We might make it 10 plus, Dave. What do you reckon?
10 plus, Dave. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Mum wants to know how much the package is worth. Do we talk about that?
Mum wants to know. Ah, Sharon.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll have a chat with you about that. But as I said, it's only about the price of a cup of coffee. They can 12 weeks, so we'll sort all that through.
She said she'll pay $100 for it, David.
All right, guys. Thanks heaps for being on. Of course, Brian, Shaz, and it's been great running this for you guys. And we're really looking forward to seeing a lot of you back in the gym in 3 weeks or just over 3 weeks' time. So yeah, enjoy, and we'll be sending stuff out to you in the next day. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being on.
Are we ending it now?
We are. I just wanted to leave you hanging.
Ending's always so awkward.